So we were founded after we seen a 13-year-old football player become paralyzed in a football game from using incorrect tackling technique made to tackle with the crown of his helmet. Our product is an accessory that wraps around the tackling dummies these schools or organizations already have. And so as a player is running in to hit the tackling dummy in practice, a coach is going to change the number on the screen. And if that player comes in using improper tackling technique with their head down, they won't be able to tell you that number on the screen. So ultimately, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give coaches a tool to be able to help the most critical part of the tackle is the collision point. Is your head up? Is your head down? Our product also too is going to be used at the higher levels of football, not only because of safety, but because of targeting costs. Coaches are actively looking for ways to minimize these type of hits because it's affecting the outcomes of the games. When I got to take out my starting middle linebacker in the first quarter of the game, and it's a national championship game, this puts my team one step back. So we really believe we got a product that can enhance athlete safety.
Welcome to another episode of Everything Intellectual Property. Today, we have a very special guest with us. This gentleman has created a revolutionary device that helps reduce the injuries in sports by improving the reaction time of the athlete. Please help me welcome the CEO and founder of Reaction Technologies, Brandon Martin. How's it going, Brandon?
Man, it's going good. I appreciate you for having me and letting us be able to get our story out a little bit. So I'm looking forward to this.
No, for sure, absolutely. And I had came across this, and I know you see the jersey in the background, and man, just being able to play up into no college football at Michigan State University, and it seems like this is not only applicable to football, but other sports, rugby, whatever the case may be, basketball. We'll show some videos where the kind of reaction time of the athlete is improved. Have a number of benefits that we'll get off into. So I appreciate you taking the time out here this afternoon to kind of discuss the story, to discuss the product, and hopefully just kind of really build that awareness on kind of reaction technologies, as well as improving the importance of improving the reaction time of the athlete.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you having me again. And yeah, we're former athletes, love sports, love football in general, and we feel like we have a product that can really enhance athlete safety and performance at all levels of sports. So anytime we can get our message out is good.
Nice. So I guess maybe kind of getting right off into it. Can you maybe describe the product and kind of what it is that the product does, and the benefit it is for the benefit it has to the user? I kind of pull up the
Absolutely.
website as you're describing things here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were founded after we seen a 13-year-old football player become paralyzed in a football game from using incorrect tackling technique made to tackle with the crown of his helmet. Our product is an accessory that wraps around the tackling dummies these schools or organizations already have. And so as a player is running in to hit the tackling dummy in practice, a coach is going to change the number on the screen. And if that player comes in using improper tackling technique with their head down, they won't be able to tell you that number on the screen. So ultimately, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give coaches a tool to be able to help the most critical part of the tackle is the collision point. Is your head up? Is your head down? Our product also too is going to be used at the higher levels of football, not only because of safety, but because of targeting costs. Coaches are actively looking for ways to minimize these type of hits because it's affecting the outcomes of the games. When I got to take out my starting middle linebacker in the first quarter of the game, and it's a national championship game, this puts my team one step back. So we really believe we got a product that can enhance athlete safety and performance in football. But one of the things we realized, and it was a great thing, we realized quickly, well, we're doing the situational awareness training, and our product could be used in multiple sports: basketball, soccer, rugby, lacrosse, boxing. All of these sports, it's pretty universal that you need to have your head up and command in that game situation. And so, we've been over these last couple of years, we've been out here hitting the ground, testing our product in multiple sports, and our product really does bring value in multiple ways from a safety and a performance aspect.
No, and that's one of the things I love about not only entrepreneurship, but coming out with a product, because one, you initially come out with that thing for a specific use. In this case, it seems like maybe the football was maybe the kind of the main use, so to speak. But then as you get a chance of using it, as other people get a chance to use the product, they kind of give you feedback like, oh yeah, man, I actually can use this for basketball, or I can use this for this sport or this thing or that thing. And next thing you know, you have all these different use cases of the product that you may not have initially envisioned. Now,
Yes.
I know you were saying something about keep your head up. I mean, if I I'll definitely have heard that that saying
I know
once
you
or
heard
twice
that before.
in
I know you heard
football.
that
Yeah,
before. You
you're
know,
especially
the old,
tackling and
yep,
keep your
yep,
head
the
and keep
old
your head up.
saying. You can, you know, the old saying in football, you can't hit what you can't see. But one of the things, like we really believe, is our product can be used in multiple ways. Although the ultimate goal is to reduce head, neck, and spinal injuries, right? As you know, a running back needs to have their head up when they're going through the hole to make the cut, right? A quarterback needs to be able to have their head up as they're going through their progression to see who's open and not. And so we our product, one of the best things about our product is the versatility of the product, right? You can be used in many ways to make the athletes better.
Yeah. No, and I love that. Like you said, it's not even just used for tackling, but and again, I was a running back as well. So, like you said, being able to go through that whole kind of seeing a defender and being able to make a
Yeah,
move based off of what he's doing, it helps out with that. Like I said, the quarterback is so many other uses outside of just tackling. I do want
yeah,
to go back a little bit because you said the inspiration. It seems like was from a 13-year-old getting paralyzed. Can you talk about kind of that
yeah,
situation and a
yeah.
little bit more, and then why was that kind of the final straw, the straw that broke the camel's back for you to say, hey, we need to do something about this?
Yeah, no, 100%. So, I'm a former athlete. I love sports, football in general. I learned a lot of life lessons through sports. Some of those life lessons I wasn't ready for at that time, but as I got older, become an entrepreneur, it really helped, right? So this was a couple years back. I seen a story on ESPN about a 13-year football player named Donovan Hill. Seeing this story, seeing this kid really affected me. Coaches said that he was the best player of the team. They thought he was going to be a for sure college football player, all of that. He was playing free safety, came in to make a tackle using the crown of his helmet, and right then and there, he suffered a serious neck injury and was paralyzed. Right, I was watching this story and I was literally in tears watching the story, watching the game of football affect the kid in such a negative way. It made me want to do something, right? I truly remember watching his mom, tell her story, right? And saying she didn't say anything bad about the game of football or anything like that, right? She called it an unfortunate incident, but it really touched me, right? And I said, what could we do to minimize these type of hits, right? These type of injuries in the sport. And once I seen that video, that documentary about the kid, the seed was planted, and that seed right there it has changed my life tremendously. I'm originally from Austin, Texas, moved out here about 3 years ago to chase this dream after getting opportunity or whatnot. So, um, I, through the ups and downs of building a business, because you're gonna go through ups and downs. I always think about the Donovan Hill, right? He is our inspiration. He is the reason why we keep on going, and so we're just trying to make a difference.
Nice, nice, nice. And you had talked about, uh, I guess that being the final straw. What was that next step for you when you saw that story to say, okay, I'm gonna do something about it, but then coming up with the head up device, how how did
Yeah,
how did that come into being? Because again, it seems like okay, that was maybe the inspiration as far as Donovan Hill and him being paralyzed. But then how did you land on
yeah.
the actual product that you have now?
Great question. That's a great question. So to tie it in, I became obsessed with this, right? Literally, this is all I thought about going to sleep, waking up was this story, right? One day I said, what do you do every day in football practice from youth football to the NFL? I said, they have these tackling dummies, right? And then I said, why not come up with something, some kind of accessory or something that flashes a number or a color? And if that player comes in using improper tackling technique with their head down, they won't be able to tell you that number, right? And so the seed was planted right then and there. From there, I hit the ground running, right? So I am a first time entrepreneur. Never really thought I would be in this position. I truly am a former athlete, right? And so I started to think about, started talking to ex players, ex coaches, and different things like that. Started to talk to family members, right? The family is the ones you got to convince the most, right? Because they really know you. And so started to talk to family members and things like that. And everybody, as I kept going and kept going, they were like, "You got something, you got something." And actually, that's where my co-founder came in. Brother of mine, former teammate of mine. I'll never forget. We sat down at Texas Roadhouse. I had all these papers on me and everything. I gave him the whole plan and everything. Like, what we gonna do? Like this is it. This is it. And I'll never forget. Once we got to the end of that, his next thing he said is, "When you ready to do this, right?" And so it's funny that the next step from there was before we had anything, before we had a product, before we had anything, we talked to a patent attorney. We talked to a
Nice.
patent attorney because every coach, everybody I talked to was like, "You got some, but you need to protect yourself,
Yep.
right?" And so
Yep.
that's where we jumped into it. Before, like I said, before it was literally a drawing on a piece of paper where we went in and talked to them. We started to build it out more and more, and then we dove into it. With the provisional patent to start
Yep.
out with, right? Put our name in the sand, and then we kept building, and eventually, one of the things, I was a little naive to the whole business patent stuff, right? I didn't realize, this is a 2, 3, 4 year deal, right?
Yeah.
You gonna
Yeah.
really have to be patient with this, but luckily, in 2021 we did get our patent approved, so we got our utility patent approved for our actual product too.
Nice. No, congrats on that. So it seems
Yeah.
like and you definitely kind of, I don't want to say learned the hard way because you got the patent approved, but as you talked about, hey man, the United States Patent and Trademark Office, which is a branch of the federal government, they don't move quick. So it's nothing for something to take, or that patent application to take 2, 3 years before it
Mhm.
gets approved. So I always tell people, I always tell my clients, especially the startups, because the big corporations, they kind of really know already the deal, but
Mhm.
the startup companies, the smaller corporations, smaller clients, a lot of times they're kind of going through it for the first time. And they like, man, why is it taking so long, or whatever the case may be? You have to tell them, hey, pumps to brake. Now I tell them that from the beginning, hey, it's going to take two,
Yep.
3 years. So you have to be patient with this. You can still use it, and you can still kind of do what you need to do, but
Mhm.
it's still going to take some
It's
time.
worth it though. It's
Yeah,
worth it, right?
for
This
sure.
is what this is one of those things I learned too. Just to be transparent, I was so used to instant gratification, right? Nothing about this comes when you need it, but some of the best things in life happen when you wait on it, right? And so waiting, that patent really does something. They
Yeah,
really be able to. This is really actual money once you turn this business into something
yeah.
else, and then you eventually get acquired and stuff like that. So support.
No, that's sweet. That's sweet. So did again, since we jumped off into the IP, did you know about IP already? It seems like at least as it relates to patents, you were coming in fresh and essentially as a novice on that one. But again, looking at the reaction technologies, I'm
Yeah,
assuming that you're protecting that brand name via trademark as well. So
yeah,
how much did you know about intellectual property prior to starting a business? Because that's one of the things, especially as I interview a lot of people I interview, even Shark Tank businesses, they're like, hey, I mean, I really didn't know about patents or trademarks,
yeah.
whatever the case may be, coming up before I started my business, and it was kind of, I kind of had to learn the hard way, or it was
Mhm.
a steep learning curve for me to kind of really try to.
Expensive one learning curve too.
Right, right, exactly. It definitely it'd be
Yeah,
expensive, but again, you talked about building a business, and a lot of times the entrepreneurs are trying to focus on the day-to-day operations of building a business, which is the most important thing. But again, it is this IP that's a part of the business that you have to deal with, and a
yeah,
lot of times people, and it is an important part of the business that you have to deal with, but a lot of entrepreneurs just kind of don't know a whole lot, at least at the beginning of it. So how much did
yeah.
you kind of know about IP as you were coming into it?
That's funny. I didn't know Shark Tank, what they talked about on Shark Tank, right? That's what I knew. That's what I knew at the beginning, right? Couple, it just be transparent. The one of the first people we talked to, he just didn't understand what we were talking about, right? So I do think a little bit of this is finding the right patent attorney for you, right? Somebody that's gonna
That's
really listen to you and do all it and know where you are as an entrepreneur, right? And so we found the right person. He knew where we were. We didn't have to try to get up there and be somebody we wasn't. And he understood, kind of held our hand through the process until we caught up on our learning. But yeah, that's what I knew about a Shark Tank.
no, and no, that's actually another good point that you made as far as kind of going to an attorney, a patent attorney who kind of really understands what it is that you're doing and maybe understands what you're trying to do. Because a lot of times a patent attorney, if they don't get it, unfortunately, and again, as a patent attorney, I hate to say this, a lot of times they can be, I don't want to say dismissive in a negative way, but they can be dismissive in a sense that I don't think this is going to work from a
Exactly.
patent standpoint. And that's not to say it won't. It's just kind of that person doesn't get it. I had maybe a few guests who kind of previously said maybe in a roundabout way the same thing
Mhm,
where they had to go through another patent attorney. Matter of fact, one of my clients, hold on really quickly.
mhm,
He has this pill bottle. It's like a pharmacist pill bottle that has
mhm.
pills in it. The typicals you have to kind of press down and twist.
Yep.
This one is just for people who, hey, you can just use one hand. So, for example, if you
Pop it up.
disable have one, you can just open it that way. And
Yep.
he said he had to go. So he has come on board now, but his very first patent attorney that he went to for a consultation is like, man, I don't think this is going to work. So he had to go through another guy who was like, okay, yeah, I get it. And next thing
Yep.
you know, he was able to get a patent on it. So that's a very important point that I do want to kind of hit on or make
Yep.
sure the audience aware is like, hey, man, you may have to go to two or three patent attorneys
Hmm.
until you find one who actually gets what you're trying to do and can really help you out.
And know, like I said earlier, know it's gonna be a process. So this is somebody you got to be able to communicate with for
Yep,
a couple years, right? So just finding the right person, I do believe, is a big thing.
for sure. No, I definitely agree with you on that. So then let's I do want to ask you about the entrepreneurship because you like this is my first go at
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Did you and it seems like you guys are been around at least as I was kind of doing some research for around 7 years. I think 2018 is when you guys started, at least maybe on LinkedIn.
The seed, yeah, the seed was planted in 20 back then, right?
Okay, yep.
Yeah, I would say we really got things jumped off when moved out here to Michigan, right?
Okay.
So a couple years, about 4 years ago now.
Okay, nice, nice. So then I guess maybe even going back way before then, did you kind of think at some point you would be an entrepreneur? Did you have this always had this entrepreneurial spirit, or just kind of really kind of based on the 13-year-old who was paralyzed that kind of really spearheaded this entrepreneurial
Yeah.
journey of kind of reaction technologies?
Nah, business found me. I never thought I would be in this position I'll be in.
Yeah.
Seeing that story right then and there changed my life dramatically, right? I had to grow up. I had to learn some different things, right? Things wasn't about me no more, right? I always think back to a quote I heard from Herm Edwards. He said what you need to do in life is find your life's work, right? And he said he found his life work in football as a player and as a coach.
Yeah.
What I heard that once I really started to believe I could do this right, this became my life's work. And so
Mm.
I truly believe this is why I was put on this earth to do. And so it may be things where I may not have the answers today, but I know the answers is coming, right? I know that things are going to work out our way because this is bigger than us, right? But yeah, I had a steep learning curve though. Steep learning curve. I truly didn't know anything about business. I'm a former athlete. Trying to make my way, living life or whatnot. And then the story, Donovan Hill, he truly changed my life forever.
Wow.
Like I said, I'm originally from Austin, so I moved out here after getting accepted into a tech accelerator program at Ann
Mm.
Arbor. So moved out here, took a leap of faith, moved out here, and I actually moved out here a month before COVID happened. So moved out
Really?
here, yeah, moved out here. COVID happened, everything got shut down, but ended up, luckily, made it, it worked out for us.
No, and I was actually talking to someone the other day, and they was talking about this accelerator program. I'm not sure if it's the same one in Ann Arbor, and I was trying to look for kind of the gentleman name.
Ann Arbor Spark, the
Well,
one
yeah,
I was,
yeah, I think because you guys stay in the house for like a year,
no, that ain't
uh,
it. I don't know.
but I think he did say Spark because he gave me a name. I'm trying to see if I can find a name. I got so many Cole Bennett,
I'm not sure.
but it say Spark though. It definitely says Spark. I thought he was saying he said it was in Ann Arbor, but maybe it was just kind of Detroit. But it was definitely Spark, and he talked about
Mm,
this gentleman. I'm not sure if he kind of just knew these guys, but he
mm.
kind of we were talking about some other stuff, and he was like, "Man, you should reach out to the guy because they kind of put some like three entrepreneurs in the house, and for a year straight they kind of worked on their on the technology or
Yeah,
whatever the business until
that's
things
cool. That's cool. Yeah.
come out." So yeah, when you had said no, Ann Arbor and then Spark, because I do have Spark down, so maybe it's kind of a different program, but
Mhm.
nonetheless, that's cool. So then I guess, and we all know business, you talked about it earlier, has its ups and its downs. And this is kind of a two-part question that I like to ask. What was the biggest breakthrough of the business up until this point in time? And
Yeah.
then what was the biggest challenge that you guys had to overcome with the business up until this point in time?
I'll start with the biggest challenge. Just the biggest challenge is it's really two things. The learning curve, right? You got to be able to speak the business. You got to be able to know the language. You got to be able to be confident when you come into these rooms, right? And so it was a learning curve, right? Being able to be confident enough about knowing that I know the space that we're in, right? We're in a sports athletics, and I know that, right? And so just continue to grow that way, right? And then, as you know, being a startup company, any startup company, funding is always a big thing, right? Continue to, realize that I don't know how we're gonna get this done, but we gotta get this done, right? And then slowly but surely keep seeing things continue to happen for us. It has been a great thing, right? And then as far as the one of the biggest things, man, we've had a lot of ups, man. We had a lot of ups.
I like to hear that. I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
like to hear
I
that.
think I think in the moment we in now, right? It's starting to become reality, right? We've been in the last month and a half, we've been on college fields, high school fields, youth fields, right? Our product is starting to get out there. We're starting to get real feedback, some real traction. And so I would say right now, to be honest with you, this is the most exciting time.
And I like the fact that it's because I actually kind of worked on the patent maybe a number of years ago. We got the patent. We actually I probably had like 2 or 3 patents from this for this guy. His dad was it was a dad of a teammate of mine back at Michigan State, and it was like on a tackling dummy, but it was like the
Mhm.
actual dummy, and it was actually a pretty clever device. But it
Mhm.
was on the actual dummy. I like the fact yours is kind of more so a wearable device, not necessarily a wearable device, but an accessory that
It's-
so you don't have to kind of put on. I mean, you don't have to buy all these, say tackling bags or whatever the case may be. You can actually kind of buy these and, like you said, multiple uses. Put
Yeah,
on the tackling dummy. You can kind of wear it in, say, basketball, and you could do a lot of different things with it. So I like the fact that this is an accessory that can kind of aid in kind of helping
yeah.
improve
That
reaction
was
time.
big for us. That was big for us because we wanted to make this cost efficient, right? And so the biggest you already have the tackling dummy. As you know, these tackling dummies can be thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah, sure.
The average youth team can't they can only afford a couple of these tackling dummies. And so that being an accessory was a thing. We were like, okay, let's make sure that we're not having a product that's a $2,500 product, right? Because the kids who need it the most are the youth.
Yep.
This is the group where if we can teach them correctly and they learn good habits as they're going along, right? It's going to have an impact. And so we wanted to make a product cost efficient enough where NFL, they're buying 30 of them. These college teams is buying 20 of them, and youth teams got enough money to be able to buy 2, 3 of these, right? And at the end of the day, our product it can help minimize injuries, right? And so how much a kid gets injured at the University of Michigan State, a head injury, it costs so many $1,000s to get that kid back onto that field, right?
Yep.
And so, what if we can minimize that injury before it even happens, right? And I truly think that's what separates us from the competition is we feel like the way to enhance athlete safety and performance is to enhance their technique.
Man, and this seems like this is something that, and again, I don't know how this works, but the insurance companies are want to kind of really get down
Man,
with because it kind of helps with those insurance claims and with the insurance company spending a ton of money, like you said, to kind of heal or rehab, an athlete once it kind of goes through some type of a head injury or whatever the
yeah,
case may be.
it
It-
came up a couple times. That's come up a couple times, so that's definitely a route we're gonna be looking into.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that being something. So did you say that not only collegiate teams are using it, the NFL is using it as well or kind of buying it?
No, no, we say that
Okay.
our product can be used at that level,
Okay,
right?
I
That
got
is
you.
the goal,
I got
though.
you.
The
Yeah,
goal is to be able to get our product used at the higher levels, right? Uh, Ultimately, though, the youth. We know the youth. The youth is the largest market of them all. This is the market where they don't necessarily have the best coaches, right? And so, our product can be used from youth all the way up to the highest levels. One
I
thing,
got you.
as you know, you're never too good for fundamentals of technique.
Yeah.
LeBron James is always working to get better. Tom Brady played 20 years. He was always working to try to get better. And so, one thing about sports, you're always looking for new ways to continue to enhance your technique. And so, we really believe the sky's the limit for our product. And this is just the beginning.
Yep. No, and I love that. I was going to ask you this about reaction times because I do feel like, and I'm kind of go about this in a kind of a roundabout way. I do think that everybody has a superpower, and I think for me personally, one of those things is reaction times. Like I can kind of quickly react to something. Quick on your
Mhm.
feet, I guess, is what a lot of people say, and maybe that kind of helped me out as a running back because you kind of got to have to. And I think football in
Yeah.
general, you have to react, but other sports you have to react. Like say NASCAR, for example, you have to
Mhm.
kind of quick think quickly or make a quick
Boxing.
decision. Uh,
Boxing.
do you think that boxing as well? Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Do you think that reaction time, or how do you? Yeah, what do you think about reaction time being able to be improved as opposed to it being almost like a God-given gift? If that question makes sense. So,
Yeah.
how much of it do you think is a God-given gift, as opposed to how much of it is like okay, somebody can kind of improve their reaction time to the point where
Yeah.
it's sufficient and it's not they're not being injured or kind of being damaged as a result of kind of slowly,
Yeah.
processing things too slowly?
Nah, that's a great question. I think yes, you can improve your reaction time. I do believe some people are just got better reaction than other people, right? Take Reggie Bush, right? That's a elite level of reaction time, right? But I do believe you can improve this, right? This is something you can work on. This is something you can do drills after day after day after day after day to build that muscle memory to
I like that.
continue to react better reaction time. I think I also believe that with what we've seen from our product alone, right? We start to see a change of behavior in about 2 weeks, right? Especially with these little kids, these first couple of days that they still struggle with the head up, head down, right? But at about the 2 week mark, that's where you start to see a change of behavior. You start to see
Mm,
that helmet, you start to see that head up as they're making the tackle, right? You start to see the quarterbacks being able to do their drop a little bit better with their head up as they're going through tackling dummies and different things. And so I do believe that you can improve reaction time, and ultimately, to be honest with you, everybody needs to have good reaction, be able to react to different things, just being a human, right? And so
yeah.
this is something. Although we're starting in sports, this is going to be used in multiple ways.
I like that. It definitely seems like it has a lot of kind of real world applicability outside of sports. And I think this goes back to what you said in the beginning with regard to your life. A lot of the things that you learn in football kind of transfer those skills, kind of carry over to life that it can help you out with everyday life. I guess maybe just a few more questions I have for
Okay.
you. And again, you can talk about this as much as you want to, or as little as you want
Yeah.
to, in terms of the new products that you have coming out. We saw the I guess the flagship, the
Yeah.
flag star product as far as kind of reaction technologies. What other products, or if to the extent that there are any that you guys are looking to come out with going forward
Yeah,
that
no,
you
we
can
definitely
discuss?
want to innovate. We definitely want to innovate. One of the things that kept coming, actually, 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, we came in second place at the MIT Sports Analytics Pitch
Oh,
Competition,
nice,
and
nice.
so we actually got a behind the scenes look of the future of professional sports and all of that. And we know how important data and analytics are in sports these days, right? And so, luckily we brought on a very talented data scientist onto the team, and we started to develop a data analytics platform where we're able to detect head angle, speed, acceleration, deceleration, among other metrics and other things. That's going to be all packaged up to be a platform that can be used with our hardware product, or it can be used as a standalone product. With the goal of being able to enhance athlete safety performance. And we actually just finishing up our internal testing with a couple of high schools around the area,
Nice, nice.
and college around the area, and we have a very very positive feedback from these coaches and these athletes. And so we're looking to continue to get build it out a little bit, and our goal is to be able to launch this late this summer.
Nice, nice, nice. I
Yeah,
love that. I love that. And I think this is going to be a good question for you to answer, just because, like you said, you came in this thing new, fresh, not maybe
yeah,
having any experience as it relates to entrepreneurship. So, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs? So, somebody who's maybe has a product, maybe has an idea, maybe want to make a difference in the same way that you did based on
yeah,
another story, but they're kind of doing this double dutch thing. Do I get off into entrepreneurship and come out with my product,
yeah.
my service, or do I not do it? What advice would you give to that aspiring entrepreneur?
Man, I got about 100 things I could give you right now, but I'll give you just a couple. I'll give you just a couple. I would say, man, you gotta first you got to believe in yourself, right? Ups and downs, ups and downs. It's been times where people have believed. There's been times where people have not believed, right? It's been times where we didn't know what to do, but at the end of the day, I knew we were. I believe in this, right? I know that what we're doing is gonna work and all of that. I would say also too, you're gonna have to be patient too, right? Nothing about this came when I wanted it to come, right? I've always, like I said, that's probably one of the biggest things I had to learn was, to be patient. I was so used to instant gratification throughout this whole thing, and so being able to just get our message out. Being able to just stay focused and all of that. I would say it's some of the biggest things that I've learned throughout this process.
Okay, no, I like that. I like that. And again, I actually this just kind of came to me. I was interviewing Training Mask, the owner of Training Mask, and these training masks were kind of worn by some of the higher professional athletes as well as kind of collegiate high school athletes as well.
Mhm.
But Marshawn Lynch, I think, wore in his Super Bowl appearance. think LeBron James, works out in it.
Mhm.
Stephen Curry works out in it. And I think the guy who I interviewed maybe a year or so ago just recently sold the company. So I guess kind of based on that, I wanted to ask you kind of in terms of the long-term vision of Reaction Technologies. Is it at some point maybe have an exit, or do you kind of see this as being more of like a legacy company where, like you said, we're going to continue to innovate products, and we can see
Yeah.
this as kind of being big as like a Nike or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, that's a big question right there, right? Because some of those things, you don't know until you're in that position.
Yeah.
But the goal, the 100%, the goal is for us to build this company up, right? We're at the
Okay.
early stages of this company, so we definitely want to get this company off the ground. We definitely want to grow this company. We want to be, 3 years, you interviewing me again. We want to be able to say, we cut down 75% of head, neck, and spinal injury. We want to be able to come back and show that we're making a true difference, right? We're going to be able to scale this thing into many different sports, many different things. And as you know, sports is not just a America thing. This sports is worldwide. And so we have some lofty goals of ours, right, with our hardware product, with our software products or whatnot. But so to answer your question is, we'll see when we get there. We'll
No,
see when we get there.
and I like that. I like that. And again, I apologize for maybe the additional questions here, but that kind of made me think, because a lot of people don't know, especially with regard to patents, that hey man, a patent in the U.S. only protects you in the U.S., but to the extent that your product has kind of global potential, then you
Yep.
actually need to go get patents in each of those countries that you're looking to maybe sell it in or maybe make the product in, whatever the case may be. So in your case, did you look at not only getting a utility patent here in the U.S., which you have, but also maybe filing a PCT application or whatnot to try to protect this thing abroad?
Yes, that in the process. We in the
Okay,
process of making
nice,
some couple of things happen right now because
nice.
yeah, we definitely see our product being used worldwide, right, in
Okay,
multiple
okay,
avenues and whatnot. So we definitely want to be able to protect ourselves and different things like that. So the question is yes,
okay. No, I got you. I
yes,
got you. And then I guess the last question, and
yeah,
maybe the more important question, how can people follow you as well as Reaction Technologies? And then how can people purchase the product? I know it's coming up on
yeah.
baseball season for the youth is coming up, football season for the youth is coming up. I know AAU is about to start to get picked up for basketball. How can people follow you and Reaction Technologies as well as purchase the product?
Yeah. So multiple first way, you can go to our website is reactiontechsports.com. You can go to our website. We are getting ready for our soft launch. So if you go visit our website, you'll be able to see a little link that says join our pre-order wait list. I would suggest you go and join because it's filling up fast. We're only doing so many orders for this first launch, our soft launch. So just go visit our website. And then you can find us at all social medias is Reaction Technologies, Reaction Tech. So find us on social media. Yes, we're trying to get our message out, right? We believe we have something. We really believe we can make a difference in athlete safety and performance. And so we're looking for people to help us get our message out too. And so we would love if people can help join us, support us or whatnot. And then I'm on LinkedIn at Brandon Martin. You can find me on LinkedIn. And yeah, just go follow us again, like on social media and then reactiontechsports.com.
I love it. I love it. No, I definitely go check out. Again, it seems like this soft launch that they're doing is limited. So the audience definitely go check it out and hey, go
Yeah.
sign up for that and don't miss out, especially as we kind of go off into the youth sports season with kind of
Mhm.
school starting to end for the kids here. And hopefully, audience, you guys had your pencils and papers out. Hey, Brandon, he dropped a lot of game on this one,
Yeah.
not only with regards to IP, but he kind of talked about going through this thing and kind of learning uh, as a first time entrepreneur and kind of dealing with the ups and the downs. And it seems like he's been able to navigate those waters so far in a good way. And I think the most important lesson that I got out of this, which I think is a very timely message, is patience.
Mhm.
This is what they say, the slow and steady, or maybe something
Yeah.
about the turtle winning a race as opposed to the rabbit and trying to go fast. You have to be able to have patience when you're being an entrepreneur and kind of dealing with this industry, because again, there's no overnight successes. Typically is a kind of, to the extent that you see a successful company, that's been years in the making. So definitely be patient to the extent that you decide, audience members, to become an entrepreneur. So those were fantastic points and advice from Brandon. And again, hopefully you guys go follow Reaction Technologies on the social platforms. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this interview. Until next time, audience, you guys have a good one. Peace.